Right, okay, welcome everyone to Transmathematica 2021, the third international conference on total systems. I'm going to go through the arrangements for today's conference and then give you a report on the Society, Journal and conferences. This conference is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. The plan is for talks to last 30 minutes with 15 minutes for questions and 15 minutes break. The speakers are across 6 time zones and the attendees are across 13 time zones. So people are attending from many different parts of their day. It's important then that we stick to the hour for switch over to the next speaker. Within an hour, there's some flexibility. So long as your talk ends within the hour, we'll be all right. Do mute your microphone if you want to drink or eat. Unmute it if you want to speak. And type questions or speak them. Whilst we're a few people, it will be fine to speak them. The common language of the conference is English. Feel to use any language to ask or answer questions. There's 1 hour available for discussion after the presentations, and discussion can be in any language. But if it's not in English, please would someone summarize it in English for us. I'll tell you now about the Society. So the Transmathematica Society currently has 83 members on LinkedIn. We used to have about 10 times as many people on the Google communities. And at that time, there used to be discussion about transmathematics. When the Google community was closed down, we moved to LinkedIn. We have many fewer members, and that's impacted our ability to advertise. And there is much less discussion about it. It's used mostly for announcements. And partly, I think that's to do with the maturity of the work. Back in the day of Google community, no one really knew what they were doing, and so all advice and suggestions were helpful. Now people do know what they're doing, and there's less need for discussion. There is a weekly meeting online from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. London time every Monday. It currently has very low attendance, but regular attendance. That will move from Skype to Zoom. It's an opportunity for people to say what they're doing and ask questions. The journal then. We now have an automatic archive, so all of the material is archived automatically. The archive exists only in North America. It's the Public Knowledge Project Preservation Network. If North America were to be destroyed for some reason, maybe in a big asteroid crash, we would potentially lose the journal. That's of interest to people in Brazil. There are a number of Brazilian journals that use PKP, including TAMA, and if the North American archive were lost, then South America would lose its journals. So it's worth considering whether people in Brazil want to have an archive node. The problem is much bigger in the European Union. There are tens of thousands of journals in the European Union using PKP. They use a variety of archive methods, but it would be worthwhile the EU considering whether it wants to have an infrastructure for archives, much like the British Library in the UK, should there be an online version of things. The Transmathematica's Journal also backs up in the Figshare network, and I encourage authors to back up elsewhere. I will record your backups on the bibliographic entry for your paper. We do automatic plagiarism detection. There are 28 registered readers, 17 papers published since 2019. We have a 52% acceptance, 7% rejection, and 41% being processed. We try not to reject papers. We try to encourage authors to work on their papers until they are publishable. At the end of each year, I ask authors if they intend to keep their papers alive. If they don't, then we reject them. The 41% being processed is too high. I've been spending a lot of my time doing research, writing papers. I need to spend more time running the journal. We've had nearly 6,000 paper and abstract views. The mean number of views is 322 per paper, and that ranges from about 20 to about 1,000 per paper. If any author wants their statistics, I'll run a report and email it to them. Authors who have published a paper in Transmathematica Journal since the last conference may speak free of charge on any topic. This makes it much like a workshop, but with a fairly high barrier to entry. You have to have produced a paper of journal standard before you can speak in the conference. If the journal publishes a lot of papers, we could move to annual conferences, but for the time being, we'll stick to every 2 years. Authors of Transmathematica Conference papers may speak on the topic of the paper. So there are 2 ways to speak in a conference. Either you've published a journal paper in the 2 years before the conference, or you submit a special paper for the conference. And we have both at today's conference. Conference is then 2017 Rio de Janeiro, supported by UNESCO. Thank you, UNESCO. 2019 England. We offer online attendance. No one came online. And this year, because of the pandemic, all of the attendance will be online. In 2023, we'll have online presentation and physical if it's appropriate, depending on what the pandemic situation is then. So please do enjoy the conference.